We will go high. Love, grace, humility will win. And then you tell everybody to go to hell. You think that's going to work for you, Coach White? Think that's going to work for you? The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White. Because you're not handling it right. You playing right into their hands. Right into their hands.
What happens when Stephen A. Smith stops analyzing the Indiana Fever and starts questioning Stephanie White's leadership head-on? A heated controversy involving Sophie Cunningham, DiJonai Carrington, and a disputed coaching decision has put White under an intense spotlight, with Caitlin Clark and her teammates seemingly prepared to stand behind her. But what exactly did Stephen A. say that pushed him to challenge White so bluntly? And could this explosive confrontation reveal a much deeper problem inside Indiana?
Wellness, our player safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be
Stephen A. Smith just turned the Indiana Fever's latest controversy into something far bigger. This time, the issue isn't simply whether Stephanie White made the wrong call. It's whether her leadership is becoming the real problem.
Not embracing the reality of the tense situation that the WNBA, and especially you as the coach of the Indiana Fever, is involved in. There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you. You ain't the road team, you the home team, you the home coach, and they booing you. And Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark can speak up for you all they want to, as they did, and as they should have.
But the real question is whether the Fever coach has lost the trust of the very players she's supposed to lead. And now, Stephen A. Smith is demanding answers that Stephanie White may no longer be able to avoid.
Stephanie White, I've been a defender, the coach of the Fever. Get her out of there. Get her out of there. Fire her ass today. I don't want her back on that bench. Stop defending the other players. Oh, she plays hard, DJ. That's just her being her. You see Caitlin in the press conference almost cover her ears and her eyes. Defend your players. First of all, you're wrong. It was a dirty play. She's gone. But when do you ever see in like the NBA a coach not defend their own players? She hasn't done it with Caitlin when Caitlin got punched in the throat.
The controversy started with one play that somehow generated more drama than some entire WNBA games. During the Fever's August 8th matchup against the Chicago Sky, DiJonai Carrington was ejected after making contact with Sophie Cunningham around the head and neck area during a breakaway. Officials ruled it a flagrant 2, ending Carrington's night immediately and setting off a firestorm that was only getting started.
Did y'all see what happened when this young lady got ejected from a WNBA game the other day for a flagrant foul on Sophie Cunningham? Did y'all see that? She got ejected from the game for that flagrant foul right there, and I'll be damned if that wasn't a flagrant 2. She mugged her. Damn near came across like decapitating her, for crying out loud. That was definitely a hard foul. Make no mistake about it, nobody can argue about it. You can say what you want. We know what we saw. No way around it. DiJonai Carrington foul was clearly unnecessary. It was a flagrant foul penalty 2. It was absolutely positively correct call.
On its own, this should have been the end of the basketball story. There was a hard foul, the officials reviewed it, a decision was made, and everyone could move on. Except nobody did. Instead, the incident exploded into a much bigger debate involving player safety, coaching decisions, social media, race, politics, and fan loyalty. Before long, the conversation shifted from what happened on the court to what Stephanie White said about it afterward. And that explanation left plenty of people unconvinced. Because cameras don't care about press conferences, personal relationships, or carefully worded explanations. They simply capture what happened. And the footage circulating online has given critics plenty of reasons to question White's version of the incident involving DiJonai Carrington and Sophie Cunningham. That created an uncomfortable gap between what some viewers believe they saw and what White said she saw. Online discussions quickly focused on whether her explanation actually matched the available footage. And that is exactly where Stephen A. Smith stepped into the controversy.
Crossroads that Stephanie is stuck in is she knows DiJonai is a good person, but now she's coaching people who are likely taking money from the Heritage Foundation, has a large MAGA racist fan base, and they didn't like that she defended DiJonai.
Take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back.
Smith didn't treat the situation as a simple argument over whether the foul should have been upgraded from a common foul to a flagrant. He went after something much bigger, the question of leadership. And that distinction matters because his criticism was aimed directly at White's responsibility as the head coach of the Indiana Fever. His point was essentially this: if you're the head coach, paying attention to what happens on the floor isn't optional. You're expected to recognize when one of your players takes a dangerous hit, understand the seriousness of the moment, and respond accordingly. When a player is left on the floor after a violent collision, fans naturally expect the coach to react. Often before social media even has time to upload 3 different camera angles, add dramatic music, and turn the moment into a full-blown controversy. That has fueled speculation that White's familiarity with Carrington may have influenced how she initially viewed the play. But that theory should still be treated cautiously. Having a relationship with a player does not automatically mean a coach will defend everything that player does.
That's a flagrant 2 every single damn time in the NBA and the WNBA. But you know things have devolved when you've got the Attorney General for the state of Florida saying that's why WNBA games ain't here because guess what? We are the prosecutor. Attorney General James Uthmeyer, the WNBA knows better than to play games down here in Florida because I'll be charging people with assault. I should probably clarify. Assault and battery. That is from the Attorney General of the state of Florida.
Coaches spend years working with their players, learning their personalities, understanding their tendencies, and building relationships that can last well beyond a single season. White supporters can reasonably argue that she was simply describing what she believed she saw in real time, not deliberately protecting a former player. But her critics are asking a much tougher question. Would White have reacted the same way if the player involved had been someone she had never coached? That question has become one of the biggest reasons this controversy refuses to disappear. Because once trust enters the conversation, every explanation gets placed under a microscope. Then came the moment that completely changed the temperature. Before the Fever faced the New York Liberty, White addressed the growing criticism. And instead of giving the carefully polished, media-friendly response coaches usually deliver during a controversy, White appeared to send a much stronger message to her critics. There's something almost perfectly chaotic about talking about grace and humility while essentially telling your critics to take a very long walk in the opposite direction. It was the kind of statement that sounded like 2 completely different personalities were fighting for control of the microphone.
Or not, you're wrong, but it starts to make me think you care more about the overlying social issues and not pissing off other people in the league and saying men can play in the league because she's one of those players. Coaches, when asked, always is taking the far left side of it. This isn't politics. Your player got assaulted. Defend your player in the press conference. Be like, yeah, that was a dirty play. She should have hit the showers. She acts like she's the coach of the other team. I don't care if she's the best X's and O's when she's not. Get her the hell out of there. Either defend your players or get lost.
Still, the emotion behind White's comments was impossible to ignore. She wasn't just responding to one controversial foul anymore. She was responding to what she believed was a much bigger effort to divide her team and question her character. And to be fair, there is a legitimate argument on White's side. Being a WNBA head coach is already demanding, but coaching the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark at the center of one of the biggest stories in women's basketball brings an entirely different level of scrutiny. Every decision becomes content. Every substitution becomes content. Every facial expression becomes content. And apparently, every controversial foul now gets analyzed like it's headed for its own congressional hearing. The Fever have become one of the league's biggest attractions, meaning White is coaching under a microscope that very few coaches experience. But Stephen A. Smith's argument isn't really about the standings. It's about leadership. And that brings us to perhaps the most uncomfortable part of this entire situation. Fever fans were booing Stephanie White inside her own building.
She is the dumbest coach I've ever seen. Love, grace, humility, integrity. And you can go to hell if you don't love, grace, and integrity who I want. She is the dumbest human being to ever coach a a professional sport. I say love wins. I will always have their back, except you didn't with Alyssa Thomas, except you didn't with DiJonai Carrington, except you didn't going back, except you never have. Hell, you're so stupid you can't even tell us what a woman is. You can't even tell us the difference between a man and...
Think about how unusual that is. White wasn't walking into Chicago, New York, or Las Vegas as the opposing coach. She was walking into her own arena, surrounded by fans who were supposed to provide home court energy, and some of those same fans were booing her. Stephen A. Smith zeroed in on that exact point during his reality check. White wasn't the road coach. She was the coach of the home team. And when your own fans start turning against you inside your own building, that goes beyond ordinary criticism. That's a warning light. Then things became even more complicated when Caitlin Clark publicly defended White. Clark reportedly said the booing made her feel sick and made it clear that the players had their coach's back. She also indicated that the Fever were determined to win that game for White. That response matters because it creates two very different realities around the same team. Inside the locker room, White appears to have support. Outside of it, the criticism is getting louder. And that's the brutal part. Players standing behind their coach is powerful, but it doesn't automatically answer the questions surrounding her decision.
Has had plenty of chances to come out with a statement like this and chose not to come out with a statement like this. But when she saw that her job was in jeopardy, after the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana came out with that statement, after she came out to say that she believed that the play between DiJonai Carrington and Sophie Cunningham wasn't intentional, when she came out with that statement and she saw how those fans reacted to her saying that, how the Governor of Indiana came out saying how she spoke about that, now she wants to make a statement. Now she wants to try to flip her words and say that, oh, she didn't see video clips and see all this. Stand on business.
The fascinating part is that Cunningham herself has continued to support White throughout the controversy, while White's broader message has centered on unity and refusing to let outside pressure fracture the team. Then Caitlin Clark delivered her own response where it matters most, on the basketball court. Against New York, Clark finished with 22 points and 10 assists as Indiana cruised to a 106-92 victory. The win also marked the Fever's 15th 100-point game of the season, adding another layer of irony to everything happening around the team. While people outside the locker room were debating whether Stephanie White should be fired, her team walked onto the court and put up 106 points. Basketball has a strange sense of humor. Fans want consistency. They want their coach to protect her players. And when controversy erupts, they want the explanation to match what they believe they saw with their own eyes. That last part may be the biggest issue White is facing. If she had simply said she missed the play, acknowledged the mistake, and explained that she would have handled the situation differently after seeing the replay, perhaps the controversy would have died down much sooner. Instead, the story kept growing because every new explanation seemed to create another question.
I really believe that Stephanie White deserves to be fired. I don't care about the injury excuse. I think that's what they're going to use to keep her for another year, which they will, because, well, look at the injuries. See, she couldn't do her job. That's what they're going to do. And most likely 99% she'll be back. But honestly, the job she did, she deserves to get fired. She does. Let me tell you why. Number one, poor roster and cover for Bonner. To me, that alone should get her fired.
First came the claim that White didn't see the play clearly in real time. Then the footage became central to the debate. Eventually, she acknowledged that the replay showed something far more serious. After that came an emotional message about love, grace, humility, and kindness, followed by an unmistakable response telling her critics essentially to go to hell. At that point, this was no longer just about basketball. It had become a battle over perception. And perception can be dangerous. Once fans believe something doesn't add up, every new explanation can become another piece of evidence supporting the narrative they already believe. That's what makes Stephen A. Smith's intervention so interesting. He isn't simply criticizing White over one sentence or one reaction. He's challenging the entire chain of events and asking whether White understands the difference between supporting her players and avoiding accountability. Those two things are not the same. A coach can stand behind a player while still admitting that player made a mistake. A coach can defend someone's character while condemning a dangerous action. And a coach can maintain a personal relationship with a former player while acknowledging that the former player committed a serious foul. In fact, Sometimes the strongest form of leadership is having the courage to say both things at the same time.
Stephanie White needs to be fired. The ESPN analysts that hate Caitlin Clark said it all. It's the sisterhood. And the sisterhood is Stephanie White's team. That's where most of the dramas came from in Caitlin Clark's, now Sophie Cunningham's career. Stephanie White just defended DiJonai Carrington's, whatever you want to call it, assault attack on Sophie Cunningham. She defended Alyssa Thomas's fist to the throat and made Alyssa Thomas out to be the victim.
But that's exactly why this confrontation has become so compelling. Stephen A. Smith is forcing a question that nobody involved in this controversy seems particularly eager to answer. What does accountability look like when the coach herself becomes part of the controversy? And there's another layer that can't be ignored. The Fever aren't some anonymous rebuilding team quietly developing young players in front of a handful of spectators. This is Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever, and everything gets magnified. Every game becomes a storyline. Every controversy spreads instantly. Every fan argument turns into a social media battle. And every comment from the coach can become a headline before the team has even finished the post-game meal. That pressure isn't going away. If anything, it's only going to increase. The more every decision gets dissected, the harder it becomes for White to simply coach basketball without becoming part of the story herself. But there is one thing that could completely change the narrative: winning. If the Fever keep winning, the controversy could gradually fade into the background. But if Indiana starts losing, every unresolved question surrounding White could come roaring back, and this time with even more force. That's why this moment matters. Stephen A. Smith has essentially placed a spotlight on a problem that may have already been burning beneath the surface. The booing suggests some fans are deeply unhappy, while the players appear to be standing behind their coach. And now, White has to prove which side of that divide will define the future of the Indiana Fever.